Are you thinking about moving from California to Seattle? It's a big decision, but you know what? People do it all the time. I'm a real estate agent up here in Seattle, and we have so many people coming up from California and Oregon that it's bananas. That's where a lot of my relocation business comes from, other places too, of course. But today, we are focusing on the differences between these West Coast cities, particularly going from California to Seattle, what people can expect. California is kind of its own world, it seems like sometimes. So we are going to get you covered. I actually am diving in a little bit different format today. A cool interview with a realtor down there named Clara, who has a lot of clients coming up this way. So I wanted to get her folks well informed on what the differences are between California and Seattle and what you can expect moving there. Big move north to Silicon Valley North up here in Seattle, Washington.
We are not the passive agents that so many people are, where we just sit back and wait for things to pop up on the MLS. I have clients looking in a certain zip code. I am mailing those people. I am calling those people. I am texting them. I am knocking on their door. I am doing anything and everything I can to create inventory, to be the first one there, and also to let sellers know, maybe you don't have to clean it up all the way. Maybe you don't have to replace the carpet. If you're willing to give us a good deal on the price, maybe we can make this a smooth, quick transition for you when the time does come that you're ready to sell.
Cool, cool, cool. So as you can see, I got a little haircut. When we flip to the video, you will see that I have different hair when I'm talking with Clara, but that's okay. I'm still the same cuddly Seattle real estate agent that you know and love. So what we're going to do is be talking about these differences. Before we get into it, I just want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. The Living in Seattle channel is focused on helping people who are moving here plan their move. So whether you're coming from California, which you probably are if you're watching this video, or if you're coming from any place else, we kind of start broad. What are the big things to expect all over the Puget Sound? And then we dive deep, if you're looking for an urban lifestyle, if you're looking for a suburban lifestyle, if you want to keep a horse, what are some of the pros and cons of the different neighborhoods where you might want to look for affordability versus luxury and all of those things. So subscribe to the channel, mash the bell so you get those notifications, and then make sure that you have comments, or if you have questions that you put them in the comments. I do actively monitor those, and a lot of people from the area are also on my channel, so they will chime in, and please do chime in. I hate this area, da, 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 or I love this area, or Emily, your hair looks horrible, I don't like your haircut, go back to the way it was. Like, whatever you want to say, go ahead and say it in the comments. We'll get the conversation going. One of the things that I think is so valuable in this day and age when we're all on computer and technology is to build those relationships. So let's do that in the comments below. With no further ado, here we go, the interview between me and Clara, what it's going to look like when you move up from California. Welcome to the neighborhood. Spring is totally here, home buyers. The sun came out for us. This one has a lot to offer. This is Emily Cressey with Home Smart Real Estate.
Hey, good morning, Emily. How are you?
Good morning, Clara. So happy to see you.
Thank you. So everyone, I want to introduce you today to Emily Cressey from Home Pro Associates in Seattle, Washington. So tell me, Emily, how long have you been an agent?
I first got my license about 10 years ago, but I started before that almost 20 years ago now. I can't believe it. Right out of college, investing in real estate. So I kind of cut my teeth on doing a lot of my own marketing and negotiating with people one-on-one, belly to belly. And it was a lot different than being an agent. We were buying all sorts of foreclosure properties and things at that time, but it was a really good proving grounds for developing those skills. And I think I brought a lot of those into my kind of career as an agent. And I tend to attract investors too, who want to, keep an eye on the numbers, be a little bit more analytical, and negotiate to get a good deal, even in, the crazy market that we sometimes have up here.
That's so true, because I think being on both sides is so helpful. Whereas if you just come right out of real estate school and try to start selling a property, it's that real life experience that is so important, and having that behind you is really, really key. So that's awesome. So tell me, what areas do you serve?
Well, I grew up here in the North Seattle area and I work all over Puget Sound, but it's interesting because I came back to the exact same place I grew up. I live very close to my parents, my sister. We've got a good family core in this area. And as I was looking at statistics, I was actually surprised to see how many folks that live in the Seattle area are not from around here. We have only 30% of the population is kind of born and raised still living in Seattle. 50% of the folks here are from out of state, from somewhere else in America. And then 20% of the population is actually from out of the country. So I
Wow.
guess I'm somewhat of an anomaly being a Seattle native. But I feel like it gives me a really good appreciation for some of the things that are special and lovely about this area. In terms of where I work,
Mhm.
maybe I can just give you a little general overview of what the Seattle area is, because when we say Seattle, there is the city of Seattle itself, which only has about 700,000 people. But the
Right.
Seattle metro area, greater Seattle area, the Puget Sound area, these are all kind of terms for the cities, and the population runs about 4 million in this general block. So
Oh my
we've
goodness. Wow.
got Seattle, pardon?
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yes, yes. So Seattle has interesting geography in that we're very constrained by water here.
Mm.
So on the west side of Seattle is Puget Sound, which is salt water. It opens into the ocean, and it's on the east side of Seattle, we have Lake Washington, which is a very long north-south lake. So the city of Seattle has these two large bodies of water in it,
Mhm.
and the I-5 freeway runs through the middle. So you guys have that in Canada too. It goes all the way from, I'm sorry, in California, it goes all the way from Canada through Oregon, California, and down through Mexico. So that's I-5, and that runs through Seattle. We
So,
also have,
yeah, I was going to say, with all that water, it sounds like there are going to be a lot of opportunities for water view, ocean view homes.
yes, and Lakeview homes are very popular. What I was going to say, Bellevue is directly across the lake from
Hmm.
Seattle, and that area right across from Seattle is one of the most high-end areas. So we have Medina, which is where Bill Gates built his $40 million home, and
Oh,
surrounding areas, all, great water access, and then views of the city overlooking Lake Washington into Seattle. And then on the other side of Bellevue is Lake Sammamish, which has historically been more of a vacation area, but people are pushing out to live there as well. Actually, a lot of Californians do like to locate in the Bellevue area
oh, really?
because it has, a little bit higher rent district, but that doesn't scare them off.
No,
And excellent schools over there on the east side. So
that's terrific. So now
yeah.
the fact that the Californians are pretty much moving in a particular area, could that be also due to weather perhaps, or is it mostly, what is the driving factor?
I think for a lot of people, it's employment. So we want to be close to where we're working. And I see a lot of folks coming up are in the technology industry. I'm sure not all, but my husband works at Amazon. My brother-in-law works at Google. Maybe I just tend to attract some of those IT types of folks, but we've got the big tech companies, probably Silicon Valley North up here, but we've got Facebook, Google, and Amazon all locating in Seattle. And there have been some restrictive taxes that have been passed by the city of Seattle. So they're trying to kind of move out of that area a little bit. They also have some hubs in Bellevue and are talking about looking for different kind of satellite locations. Also on the east side, we have Microsoft, which Bill Gates developed. So that's in Redmond, which is a little bit north of Bellevue. And so a lot of those technology workers want to have access to one or both cities, and they want to have excellent schools, and they can afford to be on the east side, which is a
Right.
little bit newer and a little bit better school districts.
So speaking of affordability, what are some of the pricing that you've been seeing, like for condos? And
Sure.
let's start with
Well,
condos.
yeah, in this area, kind of the low end of the condo market is about $300,000. So if affordability was your primary concern, you could get into something like a 2-bedroom, a little bit north of Bellevue, older unit for 300,000.
So when you say
Homes,
older, are like what year are
1978. I just sold one in Kirkland for 1978. It was right across from a state park with beautiful hikes and trails. I'd love to tell you about all the outdoor stuff that we do here, but as
yeah.
far as pricing specifically, yeah, that's kind of the lower end. And after that, it's more like apartment conversions, but there's just not a lot of inventory below 250.
Well, that's pretty good actually. Especially because I mean, if you're looking at high tech, the one of the things that I've noticed is the people in the tech industry tend to do pretty well. So if there are condos starting in the 300s or thereabouts, I mean, that's a really great starting point. Much more so
Yes.
than some of the areas here in Los Angeles. I mean, you can still get that here, but it's more sparse, you know, the number of homes available. So what about single family homes? What's like some average pricing there?
Sure. Well, county-wide in King County, the average median price home is 680,000.
Mm,
So the starting bottom tier price point for houses is about 4 to 500,000, and
okay.
you're going to find those more commonly south of Seattle. So downtown Seattle south, closer to the airport, is where those types of homes are. North of the city, going up to the King County, Snohomish County line, kind of the top of Lake Washington, if you look at the map,
Mhm.
you'll find kind of the typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot home going for closer to 700, 750 at this point, especially for newer construction.
So how easy or how difficult is it to get into these homes? I mean, like right now we're hearing a lot about multiple offers and prices going higher than the asking price. So for a typical home, how are you seeing the market?
It's funny. I was just interviewed by a newspaper last week who said, I'm looking at Seattle because the market is so strong there. It's very overheated. What I'm seeing, I've got different buyers looking at different things. So in that $750,000 home, the newer home, the first time buyer, we are seeing a lot of pressure, especially in the suburbs of Seattle. This past year, with so many people working from home, historically, they might have been enjoying the condo life or the apartment life with the rooftop deck and the workout space in the building. And now that hasn't been as easily available. They've been stuck in a small room and they
Mhm.
don't need to go into work. They've been working from home. They've been schooling from home. So there's been a lot of pressure in the suburbs.
Mhm.
And there we're seeing, the typical horror stories, things with 30 offers, homes going for 10 to 20% over asking price. Something that starts at 600,000 will get bid up to 720,000. People have to waive all their contingencies, and it's horrible. That's very difficult for buyers to endure that long term. So some folks in the market I've noticed have started waiting
Mhm.
until after. Our average days on market right now, Clara, is only 6 days.
Mhm.
And the reason that it's even as long as that is because the agents are saying we need to wait for a review date. So the homes will come on the market Thursday. We're going to give everybody a chance to look at it over the weekend. And then Monday, Tuesday, you guys can send in all your offers and we'll put them in a stack and we'll look at them on Monday, Tuesday. So
I,
that's why it's taking 6 or 7 days. I mean, people start making offers day 1, day 2. So that's a struggle. What
Mhm.
I have found is that the condo markets, like we mentioned earlier, are a lot softer right now because of some of the trends with people wanting more space. So if you're looking for a deal, if you're flexible on your space, getting into a condo, kind of going against the grain, reversing the trend, you
Right.
can actually find deals. The condo days on market right now is 21. And we just had somebody buy a
Wow.
condo for 5% less than it was listed
Yeah.
for. So
Okay.
yeah, there are still deals to be had. You just have to, zig when everybody else zags.
Right. And I think also some of the things that people could be doing, especially buyers, is just looking under their price range, because I find that there's such a tendency to go to the maximum amount that you can afford. But if they can just look at homes that are under their price range, they're much more likely to be able to get in to those. So, just that old wonderful adage of living below your means is probably a really good thing right now for people looking for homes. It's probably a really good
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
important strategy to make folks aware of on the front end, because we're so used to shopping, the milk at the store is $5 and I've got a coupon, I'm going to pay less. That's not the case with the real estate market right now. The milk at the store is $5, but I'll pay $6. Oh, I'll pay $7. So it can be not what we're used to. And I feel like culturally, a lot of people just aren't used to that type of negotiation. So yeah, starting low and being prepared to go up quite a bit
Mhm.
will keep you in a safe zone. Also, just being aware of what your risk tolerance is. Are you someone that is comfortable getting rid of all of your contingencies, or do you want to make sure you have an inspection? Do you need to have that financing contingency? So those are important conversations to have, to know whether you're prepared and how aggressive you're prepared to be when you find that one home that you have to have.
Right. And and I think, Emily, that you're a pretty keen investor. I mean, you know how to find properties that are not on the market. Like, I have been very successful in helping my clients find properties that are not listed, that are not active, that are possibly coming up, but maybe not. And actually having those conversations with the owners and, encouraging them, if it's in everyone's best interest, to sell their home. So I'm sure that you have the ability to do that as well. So it's not just about what's on the market, it's going a little bit deeper, going a little bit further. And that's something that I'm not seeing too many agents doing, but it is definitely a possibility.
Absolutely. And I mean, Clara, you and I have the advantage of excellent coaching. I believe we're both in one of the top coaching program for real estate agents in the country. And this is a very important strategy, because we are not the passive agents that so many people are, where we just sit back and wait for things to pop up on the MLS. I have clients looking in a certain zip code. I am mailing those people. I am calling those people. I am texting them. I am knocking on their door. I'm doing anything and everything I can to create inventory, to be the first one there, and also to let sellers know, maybe you don't have to clean it up all the way. Maybe you don't have to replace the carpet. If you're willing to give us a good deal on the price, maybe we can make this a smooth, quick transition for you when the time does come that you're ready to sell.
Right. Yeah, no, I think those are all really, really good ways to get out there. And so many more. I mean, many times, because of our ability to work well with other agents, people can tell us, a lot of the agents can actually tell us, well, I've got a house coming up, or this, that. And so we can prepare our buyers for, this is where the market's going. This may be a possibility. There's always that possibility, like, as you said, to create the inventory, even when it's not actually there. So tell me how, in California, our main mode of transportation is our cars. So I'm originally from New York. So my day was all about going on the subway, taking the buses, and they were pretty much, very well on time and everything. But when I moved to California, it was all about the car. And I certainly loved it, because I got my air conditioning, my radio, and my space. But I know that a lot of people are moving a little bit away from that. So in California, we're seeing a lot more services by rail, buses, and lots of bicycle lanes being installed. So in your areas and the most populated areas, how is the transportation there? Have you been seeing anything changing?
We have an excellent public transportation system, and it certainly has evolved over, I'm in my 40s now, so I've seen it evolve. And what I would say is the walkable areas are downtown Seattle, Capitol Hill, kind of that area where the high rises are. If you look at a picture of Seattle, you see high rise buildings. That's pretty walkable. and then also by the University of Washington. So just north of downtown Seattle, we have a very large state university, and with so many students there, there are a lot of restaurants, retail, apartment buildings, those types of things. It's very densely populated. So that's very walkable as well.
Now,
Bicycling is huge here, though. I will put that in, as well as public transportation.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
As well as, well, bicycling is huge. You
Oh,
noted that there were more bike lanes going in.
right.
And we have a very nice trail along Lake Washington. It's called the Burt Gilman Trail. And because this lake runs north-south, it's very flat. It used to be a railroad line. And so people can, this is a commuter area. People will bike along here, and it goes to the University of Washington. So people working in hospitals or the schools, it goes all the way up north around the lake to Bothell, Woodinville. So there are a lot of bicycles there. There's also bike lanes in downtown Seattle, but frankly, it's a little bit dangerous. We do have bike couriers and messengers, but we have so many buses and one-lane roads. People get confused and accidents have happened. So I would encourage caution there. It's also, the thing I don't like about biking is we have so many hills. This is a very hilly area. So if you are going to get a bike, you want to get around on your bike, make sure you get like a 21 speed so that you can navigate and keep pedaling even when it gets pretty steep.
So now, are you seeing the electric bikes? Because I'm seeing more and more of them, at least, within this past year, I've seen like a big growth in, motorized bicycles. Are you seeing that there as well?
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of motorized bicycles, and that's a great way to assist. There are also rental bikes or Lime bikes. Do you guys have that?
Line bikes?
Lime is just the brand. They're bright green or bright orange. They have a couple different brands, but they'll park them at bike stands, and then you can use a little app on your phone and you can rent the bike.
Yes.
And you pedal it around and then you just abandon it somewhere else.
Right.
And they must have GPS trackers or something. Somebody comes and recollects them, but it's
Yes.
kind of a way of using a bike when you need it, but not needing to take it with you all day.
Right. Yeah, we have that with scooters too. So that's been kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, I see those laying around. Sometimes they're all different colors. Seems like everyone's getting into the action on that. So now, if people are visiting, what are some of the favorite places that you could suggest?
Well, in urban Seattle, we have a lot of tourism. It's actually a pretty bustling area from the tourist perspective. And the Space Needle is certainly a must-go location. This is kind of it looks like a saucer, flying saucer at the top and narrow legs. It was built in the 1960s for the World's Fair as kind of a building of the future. And they've just finished a wonderful remodel on it. It has a glass floor. So when you're up there, you can stand and look down and see everything below you.
Oh my God.
Right in
that sounds scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's very disconcerting. They used to have a spinning restaurant but it's gone now, but people would get almost like seasick going around. It wasn't very fast. The idea was to give you a view of the whole city while you were eating dinner.
Right. You know where I'm seeing that also is the new World Trade Center in New York. They're just finishing it up. And what they're doing is, as you go up in the elevator, they actually have a digital screen showing you like everything that happened as it was being built. So it's like a video of what has happened in the past, and then even how New York used to look like, and then the addition of more and more buildings and the settling of people there. It's just amazing. So I can't wait to go back.
That's fascinating. Another great reason to visit New York.
I know, definitely. Okay, so the weather. Now that's really, really important. I know some people love Seattle, and then there are different areas of Washington with different types of weather. But for people in California, can you tell us are there different temperatures over there? Is there one area that's warmer than the other, sunnier than the other? Like Oregon has these different little pockets. And what's Washington like?
Washington State is pretty clearly divided by the mountains that are just east of Seattle. So once you get past those mountains, you're in dry farm country. That's where all of our apple orchards are. That's where a lot of our hydroelectric stuff is. And they even have wheat farms farther out toward Idaho. So that's very rural, very agricultural. Western Washington is a completely different animal, and it's green. We're called the evergreen state because we have so many pine trees, cedar trees, all of the timber trees that have been historically such a blessing, such a natural resource to this area. And it's made possible because of the rain. So I know everyone likes to pan Seattle as a very rainy city, but I'm going to tell you our best kept secret. The summers here are phenomenal. My dad is from Milwaukee, and he said the Seattle summers are the best he's ever experienced because they're dry. It's a very Mediterranean climate. They're dry. They're not too hot. Summer temperatures range typically in the 70s. An 85-degree day is considered, whoa, this is warm. This is very hot. And a lot of people here don't have air conditioning in their homes. So we're able to save money on our utilities, but also it's just very comfortable to open the window, and we have very few bugs. There aren't, a lot of flies or mosquitoes or that type of thing. So it's just a very comfortable indoor outdoor climate. It's never, oh, it's too hot to go. My in-laws are in North Carolina, so they were like, oh, take this bottle of water. You're going to the grocery store. You're going to die crossing the parking lot. And we do not have those problems. As far as the rain goes, it does rain in the summer, but we only get about 38 inches a year. So it's not these heavy drenching rains for the most part. It's just kind of partly cloudy skies and a little dripping here and there. I went to high school where we would, walk outside in between classes. I never brought an umbrella. I always brought a raincoat, but I never brought an umbrella. And you just get, plink plink occasionally.
Okay.
Really put my hood on it. It's not too bad. It's just a little gray. I would say the gray weather is bigger than the rain.
So so what is our time frame when you're saying in the summer, like starting from when all the way to when?
Well, it's mid-May now. We've had 2 days that we've been able to go swimming in the lake so far this year that were really warm and sunny and hot. I typically would say it gets sunny in June. I'll call it June. And then probably till September, start of school, that type of thing. So when your kids are out of school, they'll have great weather. And for the rest of the year, I would just say you got to do something to make yourself get out. We have, it's called seasonal affective disorder. It's a type of depression that some people experience based on low light conditions.
Right.
So doctors really encourage you here to take your vitamin D, even if it's, kind of gray and it's not appealing, like go outside. Once you're out there, it's fine. Just roll up your sleeves, take your sunglasses off, get some sun on your skin, get some light into your eyes. And just doing some simple things like that can help you, embrace the day. When we're all on our phones and all in our car and all inside, it's a little dark out the windows. But my husband, who is an IT worker, loves that there's no glare on his screen. It's the perfect climate.
That's so funny. And actually, days like that are so awesome for photography. That's the one thing people don't really know about is like when you have days that are overcast, you don't have those shadows that can be so sharp when you're taking photos. So that's another plus. Plus, there are also like these light bulbs that you could use with that simulate natural light, and you can use those indoors as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Full spectrum lights. I have a sauna in my house. I really enjoy that. Just do something to get a little extra light, get an activity, some exercise.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's not just there. I mean, I think that's like for everywhere. So many of us, because of all of these events in the last year, have been staying home more. I think it's just so important for people to get out there. And then one of the things that we've found, right, is that when people get outside, they're actually doing better in so many different respects. So, okay, great. So tell us, if someone is thinking of moving, relocating to Seattle or any other part of Washington, what are the first steps that they should be taking?
I think one of the first questions I ask folks who are coming here is whether they know where they will be working, because commute, I mean, we talked a little bit about traffic. There's excellent transportation, but the commute is historically been the major factor. So if you're coming into Seattle, if you're coming into Bellevue, or if you and a spouse are each going to different cities, getting that nailed down sooner rather than later, I think will help you. There's only limited amount of houses. So if you're working in Everett or Tacoma, that's going to be a lot different option than if you're working in Seattle or Bellevue.
And then one thing that I've heard also is that these days, according to the National Association of Realtors, I mean, buyers are, previously it was only like several months before they would make the decision to move. But these days, the time that they're preparing is more like a year. So within that year, I mean, there are a lot of things that they could be doing. And maybe, I'm sure that you probably work with a lot of people who are coming into Seattle, and you have perhaps like some guides that you could help them with and so forth, right?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to provide a relocation guide, and you can link to that. And that way people will get a more in-depth orientation. They can look at some of the details that we've glossed over here, but that are important to know as you're doing your research. People
Okay.
are very big into online research for sure.
Excellent. So for everybody out there, if you want your relocation guide, make sure to look at the description below and click on it in order to get it. Okay. It has been such a pleasure, Emily. Thank you so much for joining us. And you have so much information, you have so much experience, and I am just sure that, everyone that will be watching this video is going to definitely want to talk to you to be able to get more information. So thank you so much. And is there anything else that you'd like to add before we sign off?
One last thing that I think is useful to consider is just planning in some of your social activities that you'd like to do. This is like I said, a very diverse area. There are a lot of people here, but some folks who have moved have found that it's a little bit harder to get connected just because there are so many different groups. So whether it's a church, whether it's people from work, whether it's a hobby or a sport, a lot of people do hiking, finding some way to connect with the type of folks that are interested in what you enjoy would be a wonderful way to integrate yourself into the community quickly once you arrive.
Yes, as you can see, I've got lots of pieces of advice for you if you are planning to move up here. I am a real estate agent in the area, so I actually do this for a living. And I would love to talk with you. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. I will have my phone number magically appear on the screen. You can call me or text me. You can send me an email. I respond to all bribes of chocolate or Chipotle. If you want to take me out to lunch and pick my brain, anything like that would be totally fine. So in the meantime, make sure you check out the other videos here on my channel, and they will be flashing on the screen, hopefully. So you can take a look at those and see what is going to be the best next video for you to watch. I hope you were informed. Make sure you let me know in the comments what you thought, and subscribe before you head off into the sunset. Take care, partner. This is Emily Cressey up in Seattle, Washington. Hope you make it an awesome day.